Hi guys, welcome back again. I'm joined as always by heterosexual life partner Rob, and we're joined by Neil Hibbert from For the Love of Horror. So I'll let Rob take it away.
So to anyone who was watching, Neil, and I'm sure as well a lot of you already know, plays a big part in the creation of For the Love of Horror, which is basically a horror con in, am I saying this right? Is it Manchester or is it Salford?
Manchester.
Manchester.
I hope.
Rollers.
Yeah, I'm a scouser, so it's Manchester to me.
I always, obviously, I've been a couple of times now, and I think to myself, I don't know if I'm in Salford or Manchester, but it's been on for how many years now in Manchester?
4. So I'll say 1998 then. 2018 was the very first one.
Okay, so how was it? So how was it like? Basically, how was it you got involved in basically just anything involved with the For Love of Horror?
Well, it's a funny story because originally, obviously, I'm a horror fan first and foremost. So I remember being in work and I'd never heard of For the Love of Horror. And I was scrolling through Facebook, which obviously was his first year, so I wouldn't have. And I seen Danny Trejo was coming to Manchester. And I went, get in, threw me tools in the air, got that excited and went, I'm buying tickets to that. So I phoned one of my mates up, I can't remember who, said, listen, we need to go to this convention. So I bought the tickets and I bought a photo with Danny Trejo. So then I thought nothing of it. And then obviously I followed the Monopoly events pages. I didn't know anybody in the company. And then I seen a post out for volunteers to work the conventions. So I was lucky enough to be involved with Weekend of the Dead, which is a George Romero con. So I'd helped them for a couple of years and I thought, yeah, do you know what? Let's just go. So I drove to Bowlers for the night, didn't know anybody, got talking to a guy outside in a pair of shorts and a jacket. And he was like, oh, what do you do? I said, oh, I've done this and this. And he said, oh, you sound like someone who I need. I said, oh, what do you mean? He said, oh, I'm Andy, I own the company. So that was my first meeting with Andy. And then I worked a couple of conventions and then For the Love of Horror 2018 come. And I was just a normal volunteer then. I worked Ola Ray's table from Thriller. Obviously, it wasn't the busiest of conventions. The guest list was a bit hit and miss. So I just said to them, like, who's doing your horror? He said, nobody really. I said, well, do you want me to do it for you? So I'm like, I don't know everything, but I like to think I know a lot about horror. I'd love to like run it for you. And then that's how the ball got rolling.
So literally you put your balls on the line, didn't you, really, by saying, I'll do it for you? Because I never went to that first one. Another one you mean, but to look at what it is now, obviously I can't compare that first one, but I imagine it's not as big as it is now, because the last two that I've been to, Chad, have you been to?
You know what? I've had tickets for every single one, but something always comes up like a month before, a week before I had tickets to one. Because I was the same year, I seen Danny Trejo, and I was like, no fucking way. I was like, I'll be well to meet the Hete himself. I was like, I'm going, but then something came up, obviously. But every time something comes up, I know what it is.
He's going this year.
Speaking of Machete, hang on, it's just it.
Oh, thing of beauty, isn't it?
That's amazing.
That was actually a gift off Danny because I picked them up from the airport, and we just really hit it off because. I don't know. I just seem to connect with guests. I speak to the janitor the way I speak to the CEO. So I just speak to them like I'm speaking to you guys. And I don't know. I just seem to get on with. I'm a people person, and I seem to just make a connection with a lot of the guests and keep in touch. It's weird saying it because I'll never be ignorant or arrogant about what I do. I'm always humbled and blessed that as a horror fan, I'm in this position.
I'm going to say
it's just
crazy. That's the in you. That is.
It's just being a nice person. Do you know what I mean?
True, true. Because, like I say, I mean, when you, like I say, so I mean, like, obviously, you know how different running that convention must be now compared to 2018. Because obviously, I think 2019 was the last one before the pandemic, and then we had the one in 2021 where we had the screencast. Chad wearing a Scream t-shirt as we speak, and we had other guests from Friday the 13th. We had Felicia Rose from Sleepaway Camp, and many others and things like that. But you know, how how big, did it change like sort of dramatically for you? Because from going from what it was to what it is now.
Yeah, well, I said to Andy, I'm one of them, me. I don't half-heartedly do things. I said to him, if you just trust me, I'll help you turn into the biggest convention outside of America. And I would say it is now. And I would even put us up against most of the American conventions in the content that we bring to the weekend and the guests we get. I would argue against any lineup, personally, that we've had in the last 3 years.
I remember
So that's my personal opinion. But, because obviously, the nuts and bones of a convention is you go to a convention, you stand in lines and you meet people. There's nothing you can do about that. But we just try to build sets, have the scare maze, have brilliant Q&As with brilliant hosts. And we just try to put as much content in as we can. At the end of the day, people forget that conventions are a business. So they need to make the money back.
Yeah.
And the biggest key is people forget that the celebrities are there because they're working.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's
so many people forget it's a business.
One of the biggest, I think, bugbears for a lot of people. And I mean, I experienced it myself because I used to be a regular visitor of Wales Comic Con when it was in Wrexham. I haven't been to the Telford one yet since it's moved over. But I remember many times being stung on, getting a guest, and then basically about a week or two, sometimes days before the actual convention, they would pull out. At first, it became, it's painful to any fan of any sort of actress, franchise. It's a kick in the stomach, especially when you buy your hotels and you've done all your travel arrangements and things like that. But as time went by, and this is why I think it's important for people who go to Comic Cons to be savvy about everything, because like you say, it's a business. And if something comes up work-wise, then of course you've got to go and do that instead, because they're going to be offering more money. Also, it could be, more work if it's a TV show or a film that might have a franchise, it could be, more work down the line. But what is it your advice would be to basically people who are watching who are quite new to the convention scene about what do you think is best for them to learn about, having, experience in Comic Cons?
Trust me on this, guest cancellations are worse for the promoters and the organisers, especially late ones after flights, hotels, banners, things are being paid for because the promoters out of the pocket. Obviously, in 2021, we had a lot of cancellations, which obviously are not in our control, and we got some cracking last-minute replacements, which we didn't have to do. We could have just sat on our laurels and went, right, there's still a solid lineup, but no. We went and got the Monster Squad guys. We went and got the Killer Clowns, the Space guys. I can't remember who else we added, but we didn't have to, but we did because we care. Yeah. And that's genuine. I've seen Andy, and he genuinely cares. I don't want to mention that, but I've sat in rooms with him and been like, right, but we genuinely care about people having a good time.
I think sometimes. Sorry, go on, Neil.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'd say is never book a convention for one guest.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
I flew to Germany and only guest cancelled, but you know what? I enjoyed myself. It was a HoloCon. I made the most of it.
Do you know what? The last couple of years, I think, in a row before Wales Comic Con left Wrexham, went to Telford. For about 2 years, maybe 3 actually. I think I had many conventions where I had no guests to go to. The last convention I went to before the pandemic was Liverpool Comic Con, where you had just before. It was the week before. Elijah Wood was there, and that was literally. I mean, that was in the midst of COVID because we had signs for like I think there was hand sanitizer. I was there with my friend, and she said to me, she said, basically her her hand sanitizer. She said I probably flogged this for about £5 because at that time it was so scary. No one knew what to expect. But I went to that convention with no guests to meet. The only person I wanted to meet was Mickey Rourke, who unfortunately pulled out a couple of days before. Because it wasn't even that late. It was literally, I was in work. Sorry to cut you off. I was in work, and about an hour before I was finishing, I was going straight to the airport to pick Mickey Rourke up, and then we just got the word he didn't even get on the plane. Wow. There you go then. So that's like, and we get all the, so Andy's lost a lot of money on a flight there, but it's like, oh, I wanted to meet him. It's not. It's like, well, what about the promoter who loses
couple of £1,000 on flights and hotels and
no one sees
everything else.
that though, do
Yeah,
they? Everyone
exactly.
only sees it from like, oh, I'm not meeting him. Where, like
Yeah.
you said, you're leaving out a lot of money, and plus you get the unwanted shit off people, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
It's
People
so
like, it's your
toxic.
fault.
Yeah.
It's so toxic when guests cancel. It's unbelievable. It's not like we do it on purpose. It's not. If guests couldn't cancel conventions, nobody would sign up.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're going to get offered work. Tony Todd's pulled out twice filming Candyman.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do? It just happened to be with them.
It doesn't help
What can you do?
the conspiracy theorists sort of make up things as they go along, because I mean, it's easy to sort of like, for something to happen and get angry and then sort of then blow up something out of nothing. That's what people do quite a lot. I've noticed, especially on the forums, because when you announce obviously that post saying these are the cancellations, all they see is the post and they think that's easy for you to write, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes and the stress it causes you. Because like I say, I mean, I've never been involved in a running of a convention, but at the end of the day, Chad and I are human enough to realise that, like you said, is a business, and that causes stress. And basically, what happens you've got to make the best of it, because you're trying to sort of tell people this has happened, I'm afraid. But you do, but it's not like you sit there and go tough luck sort of thing. You come up with solutions. You even have the guest booked for the next con, which you can move your ticket over to, which I think is quite good. I can imagine from an admin side, that's a bit of a ball ache.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with any of that, but it is difficult, and so we do try to put something else in place. It's not always possible, but there's so many. It's not just a case of the guest cancelled. We have to speak to the agent, find out what's going on, and there's guests have cancelled without telling us, and like we posted it somewhere and saying, "Oh, has he?" I've had a message before saying there's such and such cancelled. I'm like, has he? I don't know. And then they put it on their Twitter without their agent telling us.
So there's a lot of.
So I think at the convention, we're super open and honest. We try to keep everyone involved as much as we can.
Yeah.
Like, people hold us to things. So we were meant to get contracts 3 weeks ago for 3 guests. We got told by the agent Monday. So obviously I've said, we should have a couple of guest announcement next week. Obviously, they haven't come yet. And people started messaging me, oh, well, you said this, you said that. So I'm telling you to keep you excited. I didn't have to tell you anything. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what our live show is about. We try to keep everyone involved and updated and let them know what we're thinking. But sometimes people are just like rapid. I get messages at 4 o'clock in the morning. When's the next guest announcement? I'm like, there's like 8 months, 9 months, a year to go. Just chill out.
That's
the thing I like most about for the love of horror, like fans, and you and Ben are really good with like the groups and that. You're always posting, your lives. I try and watch them when I can because they're pretty funny, and it's more like a family, like I'm part of the group. I don't post much because I don't really post much on Facebook anyway. But the stuff that people post, like you'll see one guy will post like a DVD haul, and like you'll have like hundreds of people commenting, just going, "That's amazing!" But like it's just really cool, isn't it? How like something like that started in 2018 so small is now like this behemoth, as you said. You've got all these people that have kind of become friends because of it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and literally the convention is basically sold out with, it did about 8 months to go. There's literally there's about 100 tickets left on the Sunday and a few Saturday 1 p.m, which is mind blowing.
Yeah,
that's the beauty.
Considering we didn't even sell the Lost Boys out when we had the Lost Boys reunion, it didn't quite sell out.
Keith Fleming went to that, didn't he? Sorry, to like a random thing. I thought I did. I remember seeing a picture of him.
Yeah, so here's a funny story. They reached out. I run the social media for the horror pages. I'm not that good on Twitter, but someone reached out and said, here's my number. If he wants to come, tell him to ring me. Totally forgot all about it. So on the Saturday, I was just literally running to Five Guys to grab a quick bite before the after party. I got a phone call. Hello, is that Neil? I'm like, yeah, who's speaking, please? It's Lee. I'm like, Lee who? It's like, was it Lee Griffiths, I think his name is, or whatever it is. I was like, I don't know. Lee Francis, that's it. Yeah, I've got to make call Lee Griffiths. I went, sorry, mate, who's that? And he went, Keith Fleming. I went, oh, hello, mate. I mean, my friend was sitting in the car going, oh my God, it's Keith. I went, yeah. I went, are you okay? He's like, yeah. Can I come to the after party? I was like, of course you can. I'll come and pick you up. And then obviously just rocked up to the after party with him, and then he turned up on. It was funny watching Keith Lemon geeking out over Kiefer Sutherland.
I remember when he walked in, I was at the after party, and I remember he walked in because basically there's people. I think there was an act on at the time on stage, and literally I just turned around and everyone's sort of flocking into the corner. And then towards the entrance, basically where the steps go down, and everyone's sort of flocking to that corner sort of thing. And I was just like, oh, let's go and have a look. And I thought, fucking Keith Lemon. that was it. You know, I mean, like to me, I mean, I'm not a massive Keith Lemon fan. I appreciate the work he's done. I did love Book Selector, but like I looked at him and thought, this is like having a guest. Actually, you know, like it's like having a guest, but for free, sort of thing. Because he was dead nice. He was taking photos of everyone. It was just a proud moment, sort of thing. I mean, even at the last Film of Horror in 2021. I was stood next at one point. I looked to my left and watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show concert, and bloody Texas Chainsaw Massacre's next to me, Leatherface. And I'm like, hello.
Paddy Considine always comes as well. I speak to Paddy a lot. We've been friends. He's a really nice guy. He loves his horror.
He could be a guest in himself, couldn't he?
Yeah, Dead Man's Shoes. That film's amazing.
Exactly. I've tried. Trust me.
Because he does a lot of work with like music and that now, though, doesn't he? Like he's got a band or whatever. Yeah.
Funny enough, I just booked tickets the other day to go and see him in Manchester.
Oh, cool.
I think it's in June. Yeah, I'm not really a gay type of guy, but I want to see his band, so I'm gonna go.
I've heard some of the stuff. It's quite good, isn't it? Like some of the music they put out, quite funky. I quite like it.
I've had a little look. But what's funny is we booked Corey Taylor. And I still sitting here now, God's honest truth, I could not tell you 2 songs he sang. I couldn't tell you 2 Slipknot songs. I just knew he'd be unbelievable for the convention. And obviously he was, but you get the odd person, what's he got to do with horror? It's like, do we even need to
look at some of that early videos from the first, like Slipknot's early videos. Like, I'm pretty sure they do where one of the songs spit out. The whole video is basically the Shining, isn't it? Yeah, the whole things like that.
In Search of Darkness, need to say more.
And Tom Savini did one of the masks.
His last mask, his last mask.
So again, there's a lot of connection. I mean, again, that's why I remember I used to look at the conventions in America, Monster Mania, Monster Palooza. I used to be massively, you know, in awe of them. And I used to think to myself, you know, wow, it would be great to have something like this here. And it literally is here now. I mean, it's actually a thing. Because I used to get, when I was at Wales Comic Con going there quite a lot, you know, you would get the odd little horror guest and cult movie guest sort of thing. But I mean, to be fair, they have done some good guests themselves, not to promote the competition. But,
it's been and gone now. It's been and gone.
But like I say, I mean, like Chad said, you know, it is like a family, because when I went to the Liverpool con, like I said, I had no guests to me, and I just enjoyed seeing people that I saw at the Film of Horror. And like, you know, obviously, you know, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you make your mates and things like that, and you've all got things in common. But just seeing those people, you know, seeing everyone get together sort of thing, like, you know, and the guests were like a second thought.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think in this day and age, you know, people's mental health, which has been battered over the last couple of years, something like that is like something that I think people need. I think it's a really important place to just go. Forget the guests. The guests are fantastic. Obviously, they're the icing on the cake. If you can go and see your mates, just spend a bit of time with them, and let's face it, for love of horror, the reason why it sells out so fast, like most conventions, is because they're so much fun. You're addicted to it, and you definitely want to get the next one coming fast. Because you're thinking, you inject that into your veins, you know, because I love conventions, you know, they are, you know, like, I've not been to a convention with Chad, actually, and me and Chad are, you know, well, let's consider us good friends.
You need to change that. You need to change that.
I mean, was it, you know, I'm the Ben, so, you know, you're sort of, I'm basically Chad's Ben Fallon to you, basically.
Yeah. You've got hair, I've got a beard.
Oh, yeah.
You got a better beard, though, so, you know, swings and roundabouts.
Right, back on conventions. We need to go back on conventions.
Even the Saturday,
I mean the guests. Yes. The guests. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, fire away.
What was the first guest that you booked yourself for the Love of Horror?
Well, I don't personally book them, so what I do is I'm the ideas guy.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the story. I was sitting there in work thinking, okay, imagine being in a convention. Next thing you know, you look at the stage and you see Tim Capello. So I went, right, message the boss, we need to book this guy. Who is he? Right, he's the sexy saxophone guy. And he's like, what? I went, listen, please trust me. And he was like, I don't see the point. I went, listen, if you want me to be a horror guy, book this guy. And then I said, I'm a big believer. I think reunions are the way forward. That's a big thing that we like as a event. Is I'm a believer in reunions. So I always say to people, if your film isn't covered this year, it will be next year or the year after. So when it's your turn, like, I knew we had never had no Nightmare on Elm Street guests until this year, and now we've got the female lead and most of the Dream Warriors. You know, so arguably the best film in the series. It's a big argument. So then we got
no argument about it.
So we got Tim Capello. Jason Patrick had to cancel Scotland Comic Con, which was a blessing because then he was moved to For the Love of Horror. Because originally he couldn't do For the Love of Horror. And then next thing you know, it just all snowballed. So I remember doing a live show and we got told Alex Winter doesn't do reunions. And then next thing you know, his agent comes into the chat. So I'm sitting there doing a live show. Neil, check your phone. So I stepped out on Ben, looked at my phone, Alex Winter's in.
Wow.
I had to come back and sit here just normal, like, okay, you know. And then next thing you know, Jameson Newlander, and then Kiefer Sutherland was on a world tour, or a European tour. He could have been anywhere in the world, and he was in Manchester.
That same weekend, wasn't it, on Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't understand how lucky we were to get him for 3 hours. People were going, oh, where is he there for 3 hours? He's on a world tour, or whatever tour he was, and he's in Manchester. How lucky is that? No, we literally finished with 30 seconds to spare. That's how, because we didn't oversell it. We wanted to make sure everybody, got to meet him.
What are the chances of that, though? Like, booking him, and he just so happens to be in a town where that's like, it's fate, innit? Stuff like that. Like, you knew then you had to do the Lost Boys reunion.
And none of them had to cancel, which was beautiful. So, and then obviously we had the Saw reunion when we built the bathroom, and we had Bill, and unfortunately, obviously, we were meant to have today, God rest his soul. And then we built. So I thought, well, let's build some sets. So I had the idea of building the Museum of Monsters and Madmen. Let's build that, the cave, and then the Saw bathroom. And obviously, got some brilliant prop builders. Lost Copper from Captain Jack's. I can't remember the other one, but so I'm like I'm on their case going, like, I like to be. At first, I wasn't really involved with the cave, but the Saw bathroom and the Museum of Madmen, I was getting progress because obviously I wanted to be effective. I'm a stickler for things, so I wanted to be the best it can be. And obviously, people don't understand how hard it is to have set builds incorporated into Pro Photo Ops. There's a lot of moving parts to it. Set builds now, a big part of the event.
I've never seen the Halloween one and the recent For Love of Horror. That was probably, obviously there've been some great ones so far, but that was my favourite. That was attention to detail, that was.
Yeah, I was really proud of how that come out and the guy really smashed it. So hoping this year we can have all the Halloween photos in front of the porch at least. Obviously the house, but realistically you're only going to get the porch in.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's ever been done. I'm always trying to think of what's not being done in the world. Do you know what I mean? There's not much, but that's what I aim for as first time things.
What's the dream guest, Neil? That's my question to you. Like, you book anyone in the world, like, what's the dream horror guest?
Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter.
Nice, yeah. Solid choices.
Just the first thing that comes to mind. It's weird for me because I could name a couple of names now, and I could be actually involved in helping that happen.
Yeah.
And what's mad because I'm a fan, but I'm like, I keep forgetting, like, what I do sometimes, because I'll be watching a film and I'll be like, I've helped book them, I've worked with them. It's weird, do you know what I mean?
With like, so in that case then, if you could pick maybe like someone that had from the past, like, like Bela Lugosi,
George Romero. George Romero.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Wins, yeah. He's literally got a big mural to him on me, like that way you won't be able to see it.
I mean, he's one of the best in it though, isn't he? So
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead, 1978, is my favourite film.
It's the best zombie film ever made.
I mean, for a lot of people, it was quite lucky, wasn't it? He did come over to the UK for, I think it was London Comic Con, wasn't it?
Right, wasn't he?
Yeah. I went into conventions then, so I didn't even know nothing about it. I've literally got a photo with the Ken Frey and Scott from
Cool.
Yeah, beautiful.
Scott Ryan again, the two main SWAT guys. That's on me shelf.
That's the beauty of Comic Cons, isn't it? Like I say, the things you can take away. Like even in this room right now, Chad's got some items that are signed by, like you've got Hellraiser over
Doug
here,
Bradley, Clive Barker, Anthony Lawrence.
Like you say, when you look at these things, it really brings it all home, doesn't it? Really, how much fun they are, really, and the things. Like I say, you still have to pinch yourself. I remember I went to a Lost Boys slight reunion in 2007 in Kleptomania in Milton Keynes. I was lucky enough to meet Corey Haim there. And looking back now at that situation, I'm thinking, wow, that's I don't have a photo of it, sadly. I didn't get a photo with him, but my ex-girlfriend's got it, so we don't speak anymore, so I don't have that photo anymore.
Yeah.
But to think
I've got photos of
Corey
I've never seen. Yeah,
she's got that as well.
Oh, mate.
But I've got the memory, see, and that'll do for me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Corey Feldman, I met him on the same day. Hopefully, Corey Feldman one day might come to Fulham Horror. I'd like to see that.
Swiftly moving on from that.
So subject.
Controversial already.
No. We're very careful about who we book.
That makes sense.
There's reasons for everything. Obviously, sometimes you can't go into them. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like just there's like me Lost Boys picture with the cast. But that's what it's about giving you memories and giving, like, you take stuff away from the conventions, and obviously you've got memories forever. Whether it be a signed picture, signed poster, a photo with a guest, a selfie with your mates in front of one of the set bills. That's what it's about, creating memories.
When you actually go to so when you're preparing, because obviously there's a lot of preparation into creating a convention. Yeah. So I mean, it's not a case of let's do it 6 months before. You were thinking about this year's convention before the last convention even started. I remember you talking about it on the podcast.
I've literally how the hell do we top 2019? Okay, I think 2020 was nearly there. Depends what film you like, isn't it? It's subjective. And then 2021 again, nailed it out the park. I think this year, absolutely crazy lineup again. And we haven't finished. We could finish. We could sit on our hands and go sold out, but that's not what we're about at Monopoly. We want to add more people to it just for the horror fans.
Already, it's quite different because obviously on the Friday night it's when Corey Taylor plays, isn't it? And that's Chad and I got luckily. And
his missus is doing a set as well, isn't she?
Yes.
So again, we don't just do it by the skin and bones. So once we booked Corey, it was like, oh, well, what are you doing on a Friday night? Oh, your missus is a dancer, and okay, yeah, let's book the whole shebang. And so Corey's coming over with his band. I couldn't tell you the way I say it's not really my knowledge. And then even when we're bringing Harry Lehman, we're not just bringing Harry, we're bringing First Jason, the band.
Cool.
So Harry's a character, you know what I mean? But
has he got a band?
Yeah, First Jason it's called, because obviously he was First Jason. I met him a few years ago. He's mental.
He is a lively character.
Really cool guy. Yeah, very.
Yeah. The music's quite, to be honest, the songs are quite good. I've listened to a few of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So he'll be rocking, he'll be doing a couple of songs at the convention and the after party as well. And Tim Capello this year is going to be doing more of a full concert instead of just the one song, because we can never get enough for Tim.
I remember when I met, before I met Tim Capello, I actually saw him live on the stage. And then about 20, 30 minutes afterwards, I went straight to his table and I said to him, and this is true, I'm sure many people will agree, who've got to see him live, Love Horror, that he did in one song, which a lot of artists can do in one gig.
Yeah. Exactly.
He blew the roof off, literally, not literally, but he was just, I mean, even when I saw him last year, I didn't think he would top what he did in 2019. But he felt like he looked. I mean, he looked in great shape when I saw him in 2019. He looked even better shape in 2021. And then, like I say, it just all happened. And like I say, that's the difference in your convention. You're sort of bringing on musical acts who obviously are connected to the horror films that they're in.
It's a festival vibe.
It is. You're right.
Yeah. It's that's the best I can say. It's like a festival. So I'm already thinking, what's the next musical thing I can bring into it? You know what I mean? I've got one or two ideas, but it just depends who's willing to do things. Same with costume ops. Some people won't do it, and some people are more than happy to do it. No. So we've just got Scout Taylor Compton and Daniel Harris to agree to do a bloody photo op on the Saturday.
Very good. Is that when they get their hands on people when they're just covered in the soaked in blood, basically? Yeah.
So people are going to like that, I think. Don't know why, but yeah, they're going to like it.
Yeah.
But again, rather than just standardly book them, we try to make it a little bit extra. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to go that extra mile, haven't you, to like you said, because you're a horror fan yourself, and you've got to think, like, what would you enjoy? Because really, we're all the same, aren't we, in the horror community? We all kind of like the same stuff. And it's nice. No, it's nice that you go the extra mile for the fans. And
that's all we want to do. It's like with the It, when we had the It cast over, and we flew the Pennywise outfits over. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So again, when I say it's a business, so the boss spends a lot of money on set bills and props, which he never makes back, but he's happy. So when we so obviously we had to fly the guy who owns the suit out, and we had to pay insurance, and we had to pay a hotel for the guy, and all we asked for was £2.50 for a photo with it, and you should have seen how many people kicked off. It's a piece of cinema. This is the downside of it. And it's hard not to take it personal. Do you know what I mean? And it's like all you get for an entry ticket, and you're moaning about £2.50 for a piece of cinema history. It wasn't to make money off it; it was just to pay for the outgoings of getting the suit there. Do you know what I mean? It's the last one in known history.
I remember when that costume was there because I can't say his last name. It's John, isn't it? He was the man who...
John Campopiano.
That's it, yeah. He came to speak to me. He actually came to me because he asked me about my T-shirt. It was a T-shirt that Chad designed. From Night of the Living Dead's T-shirt. And he asked me, he said, "Oh, where did you get this T-shirt?" And I said, "Oh, I told him more about Chad basically, and that this is what he does." And then he sort of said, "Oh, thank you for telling me," and then walked off. And then about 2 days later, I realised who it was. And I was just like, Jesus, I mean, again, like I say, it's just one of those weird sort of coincidences sort of thing. And that's, again, it's one of the most fun things about the convention. At the last one, got to talk to Sean Clark, for free, because he was the agent of, I think, Matt and Tom Atkins, Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich from Scream.
Yeah.
I just bumped into him. I thought, Sean Clark, wow, because I'm a massive fan of his podcast.
Yeah, me and Sean have become good friends. When I said to him, "Have you seen Tickapelli?" And he went, "No." I said, "This is going to blow your socks off." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I stood next to him and watched it with him. Got his phone out on his video and I was like, "Wow, never seen this at a convention before." Do you know what I mean? I was like, if I've impressed him, I've done well.
Well, that's quite big praise from him because he does like Monster Palooza and all them, doesn't he? So that's pretty big praise.
Yeah. I thought, I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean? So I'll take that. I'll take that little win.
We wanted to ask you, Neil, also because you, apart from the convention scene, you're also a little bit of an actor.
Oh yes.
I've done one or two bits. Like I've been in a film called Red Con 1. I was in Don't Tell the Bride.
Yes.
I was a zombie.
We're in Don't Tell the Bride.
Can't mention that. Mention Don't Tell the Bride.
I was in what's it called again? Dead Town, which was a YouTube series. And I'm also, this is the biggest role I've done, is in a new Mortal Kombat fan film, but it's actually with the original Johnny Cage, Master Daniel Christina. And I've got quite a decent role in that. So I'm waiting for that to come out. It's independent film, so it's hard to get out, but it's going to be about another 3 months. It's called Legends Never Die. So, but apparently,
our Chad is about to head down the amateur independent filmmaking thing.
Oh, good luck.
Making his first movie.
Yeah.
How'd you say it? Mary
Lloyd.
Mary Lloyd.
Or if you want to go ridiculously well. She'd go marry Floyd, but they mean two different things.
So further down the line, Neil, Chad might need an actor.
Right, if you need a scouser, I'm sick of people using fake scousers. Honest to God.
Plastic scousers.
It winds me up. Like when I was watching Top Boy and they just had this Scouse accent on, I was like, no, just stop it. Just get a real Scouser.
That's
But
that
mate,
guy who plays Curtis, isn't it, that you're on about in Top Boy? He's from, isn't he from like Leeds or somewhere? He's like nowhere near Liverpool.
I think he's actually London, or it's definitely not from Liverpool, though. Don't get me wrong, it was a decent one, it was a decent accent, but I've heard some awful ones, like Rise of the Foot Soldiers had some bad ones. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But oh yeah, like I do a lot of scare acting as well. So I do full contact zombie events.
Right. Okay.
When I say full contact, I mean full contact.
Oh.
So that's how I got the part in Redcon 1 because when I go into character, I'm an absolute lunatic. Like I don't know what I'm going to do myself. Obviously, I need to get from A to B. How I get there is up to me. So, like, I've stripped people, I've waterboarded someone, I dragged the guy out of his taxi when he arrived at the event because he was late by his ponytail and he didn't know what the event was. So all he had was a Scouser in full camo gear and a balaclava, pulled him by the hair and kicked him up the arse across the car park. And he didn't have a clue what was going on.
Sound like my kind of thing.
That sounds a bit different to Comic-Con.
But that's so, I will do anything. I'm just one of them people in life that, like, I'm not name dropping, but I've done like 2 or 3 tours with Mike Tyson back in the day when he was doing the after dinner speaking stuff. Yeah. I've been around Europe with them. That's just the type of life I've led. I'll do that. I'll go here. I'm one of them. You know, no adventure starts with a salad and a bottle of water. You know what I mean? So. As I say, I just end up in places.
You have mixed in some strange circles, but very, very good circles also.
Definitely.
As I say, if I died tomorrow, I'd die happy. Do you know what I mean? I've just done everything right.
On that note, we've come to the end. Our time is up. Neil.
That was fast. That was fast.
I think about 40 minutes, about what we normally do. Yeah, so thanks for coming on.
Not a problem.
We'll have to get you on again. We need to get Ben on. We were meant to get on quite a while ago, do you remember? But I think COVID hit. Oh, well, maybe you can come on. Yes. No, can come on, sorry.
What's it? Is there anything you want to plug at all? Is there anything you want to talk about? I mean, obviously, for the horror.
As I say, we won't let you down ever. Like, what's annoying as well? So, I remember one year we put the first guest out and everyone started kicking off because it was a Walking Dead guest. Like, people now have faith, but back then they didn't have no faith. I'm like, I promised you we'd smash the lineup, and we did. But people were like kicking off over one guest. I was like me and Andy said, we'll have 15 guests. We booked over 30 guests. So you can see where it ends up, do you know what I mean? But and what's funny is I've just had this call off our contracts guy, so something could be happening.
So there's more to come then.
Yeah, as I say, we're not. We could easily just sit there this year and go sold out, but we're not. We want to keep on going.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Well, this year Chad and I will be there together. We've never been together before. Fingers crossed. So this year we'll hopefully be there together, and we'll see you there.
Be there or die.
That's for you guys.
I'll have to be there. Don't be dragging me by my ponytail.
This year.
I've got a machete just here. Don't forget. Well, that was a pleasure, boys. I'll come on anytime you want me.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it's been good.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Neil.
We'll see you soon.
Take care, man.
You too. So.
Neil was a tremendous guest. It's really cool listening to how the ins and outs of a convention.
It's not something we've spoken about before on the podcast. So I think it's, like I say, I think hopefully for you guys, please comment below about your favourite experiences at your conventions that you go to. It doesn't have to be HorrorCon, it could be anything. Yeah. But, please tell us below.
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, check out all the socials underneath. If you've got anything you want us to review or you want to just give us have a chat with us, even send us a message on all of our Instagrams. Cheers, guys. And yeah, cheers. See you soon.